So in this video, we're going to be learning about dynamic memory allocation and file processing. So for this example, we're going to be using malloc to dynamically allocate memory for an array of integers, write the array to file, and then read it back. So we don't need structures, we don't need functions. We'll just start by writing the main function, and we'll be writing the rest of the code inside the main function. So we're going to start by declaring some arrays and variables. So we're going to have an array, an integer array, where we're going to be storing our variables. So we're going to, not variables, integers, sorry about that. And then we're going to have an int I, and then we are going to have an n. Of which one of those is, those two variables is going to be the number of the integers we want to allocate memory to. So next up, we are going to have a file pointer. So we're going to have a file star, and then we're going to have file ptr. And then next up, now that we have declared everything we want, now it's time to prompt the user to enter the number of integers of which they want to allocate memory to. So to do this, I'm going to say printf, and then I'm going to say enter the number of integers, and then we are going to have a semicolon, and then we have to scan that number. So we're going to have a scanf, and then we're going to have a %d, comma, and then ampersand, and we can choose any of those two variables. I'll just choose n. And then now that we have entered the number of integers that we want to allocate memory to, so now we have to allocate memory to the number of integers. So to allocate memory, we're going to say r, and then we're going to say equal to, and then we're going to have bracket, and inside the bracket we're going to have an int, and then leave a space, and then put a star there, and then outside write malloc, and then bracket, and then say n. N is the number of integers, and then we're going to multiply that by size of int. So let me explain this line real quick. So right here we have an int right here. So we have a bracket int space star bracket. So this is what is called typecasting, and we are writing this to tell the compiler that the memory allocated will be used to store integers. So in some cases you can have void. So this void points to any data type. So in my case, I'll just use integers. So I want to allocate memory for integers. So next up we have malloc, and then we have this malloc function right here. So this malloc function is used to allocate memory dynamically in C. So let's focus on this size of int. So this size of int represents the number of bytes of an integer, so which is 4 in this case. So we want to allocate memory for n integers, and then we're going to multiply that the number of integers by the size of one integer. So let me give you an example. So let's say, let me write a comment right here. So if n, let's say the user said enter the number of integers to be 5, so n is equal to 5. So if n is equal to 5, then we're gonna have malloc, and then inside that malloc function we're gonna have n. And what is n? N is 5, and then we're going to multiply that 5 by the size of int. What is size of int? 4 bytes. And then we basically going to have something like this. This is equal to 20 bytes. So we're going to have 20 bytes being allocated for 5 integers. So now let's say maybe the user entered the number of integers to be 10. So we're going to have n there being 10, and then we're going to allocate memory dynamically to 10 integers, and then 10 multiplied by 4, we are going to have 40 bytes. So now that we have space for the number of integers, so now we can prompt the user to enter those number of integers. So to do this, we're going to write a message. So we're going to say printf, and then we're going to say enter. We're going to have %d, and then we're going to have integers. And then we have to tell the compiler what %d stands for. So let me put a \n over there. So %d is n. So enter 5 integers if the user entered 5 integers. So after that, we're going to scan each of those integers. So to do this, we're going to use a for loop. So we're going to have a for, and then we're going to have I. So we're going to say I is equal to 0. So we don't have to really write int before the I, because we have already initialized it there. So we're going to say I is equal to 0, and then we are going to say I is less than n, and then we're going to have to increment I. So we're going to say I plus plus. And then inside the for loop, we are going to scan the integers. So we're going to have a scanf, and then we're going to say %d, and then we are going to have a comma, and then we're going to have an ampersand, and then we're going to have an array, and then we're going to have I inside the array, and then a semicolon. So this scans the number or every integer that is being entered. So next up, we are going to write that array of integers to a file. So to do that, we have to open a file. So we're going to have a file ptr is equal to open. So now we're opening a file, and then we are going to give it a name. So let's say numbers.txt, and then we are going to go outside, and then in what mode do we want to open this file. So we can say write in binary, and then after opening a file, now we're going to write to that file. So to write, we're going to have an f write, and then we're going to say equal to, we're going to have a bracket, and then we're going to have an array, and then we are going to have a size of, and then we're going to have int inside, and then we're going to have comma n comma file ptr. And next up, we have to close that file. So we're going to have f close, and then we're going to say file ptr. So now from the instruction, they say we have to read it back. So we have to read that file back. So we're going to go into the next slide, and then we're going to say file ptr, and then we're going to open it. So we're going to say open, and then we're going to say the name of the file. So that is numbers.txt, and then what do we want to do to this file? So we want to read in binary, and then from there we have to read it. So we say f read, and then bracket, and then we have to say array, and then size of int, and then comma, and then we're gonna have n, and then we are now going to have file ptr semicolon over there, and then now we have to close it. So f close, and then we're going to have file ptr. So after that, we can display the array to the screen if we want to. If you don't want to, it's okay. So now what we have to do is to free the allocated memory. So to do this, we're going to say free, and then we are going to say array, and then we have to say return 0. So it looks like everything is fine. So let's run this code and see what happens. Okay, it looks like it's compiling. And there, so it's asking us to enter the number of integers. So we're just going to enter the number of integers. So let's enter, so let's say 5. And now it's asking me to enter 5 integers. So I can start by saying 2, and then I can say 5, I can say 77, I can say 33, and then I can say 45. And there we have it. So what we have to do now is just to go to our file, which is in our file explorer. So we're just going to go there, and then we are going to look for the file. So the file, here's the file, numbers.txt. So I'm just going to open that file. So here's my file. So you can see that we have a weird thing going on over there. So this cannot be read by a human. So this is written in binary and it's been read in binary. So I cannot read it. Only the computer can read it.